there, Squirrel Army. Don't know if you could quite see me over here, but I am over here. Hi. So they recently revealed all of the face commanders for all of the commander decks from Lost Caves of Ixalan. And I want to go through each of them and discuss what I think about each card rather than talking about them when we're doing the deck upgrades. So we're going to be doing those, and you can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing. Alright, next up is Pantlaza, Sun Favored. So 2 and Naya colors, so red, green, and white. 4/4. When this or another dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, you discover, which is effectively Cascade, but for equal cost or less, where X is that creature's toughness. Do this only once each turn. So the once each turn really hurts it, and I'm not a huge fan of Cascade style of effects. In this deck, it could be quite good. In a dinosaur deck, at any rate, it could be quite good as well, because you might not really care. And again, instead of the cards, when you reveal them, exile them, if you can't cast or don't want to cast one of those spells, you can just put that to your hand instead of having to put them at the bottom. So that is a bit better, and it is of equal cost or less rather than just being less like Cascade is. That's another thing where, it's a little bit annoying, but sometimes when you cast a 6 mana creature, it's a 4/4, or whatever, but it has a lot of other text. So you sometimes are trading down. Some dinos are really good, certainly, and there aren't a lot like that, but again, there are a few things that are like that where you go, oh, this is a 6 mana card, but it's a 4/4 creature, and perhaps you do have something else to buff your stuff up. So that is quite good. And again, I feel like I want to copy this ability so that when we cast something or when something enters, we get an additional Discover Cascade style effect trigger. Because again, it is once per turn. And with that, I think that we want to have our creatures enter at instant speed, because we don't have to necessarily cast our creatures, because it says when a dinosaur enters the battlefield under your control, and that's not non-token also. So if we can make token dinosaurs, especially at instant speed, that's very good. If we can sneak attack in some of our dinosaurs, especially on other players' turns, then that's also pretty good. Yes, they'll go away at the end of turn, but we'll get a free Cascade effect, and that will give us some extra value. So it gives us 2 dinos for the price of 1 kind of thing. So it does help in that way of saying, well, even if I cast this 6 mana 3/3 and I only get a 3 mana value, card from it or whatever it is, I'm getting another 3 mana or less card from it. So, there's that. That could be, quite good. And there are some dinos, I think, I can't remember what it's called, but there is one that I think is got much more toughness than power. Actually, there's a few that I think have much more toughness than power, now that I'm thinking about it. So, but they're all kind of on curve sort of things. So, you have a 4/6 double striker or whatever. So yeah, for 6 or whatever. So those sorts of things, you can still get that 6 drop kind of thing effectively, because it has to have 6 toughness. And there are some that certainly do have the right amount of toughness for their converted mana cost. So again, and there are some things that punch above their weight in terms of toughness. though I don't know a whole lot of them. And again, they could print a whole lot more for this one. This one does seem like the most interesting so far that I've kind of seen, even though I feel like almost all of them have these very similar, like, restrictions to them. Doing it once per turn, like I said, that's not a death sentence per se, but it isn't as nice as just being able to effectively cascade whenever you have something enter. And it is a bit of a cap to it, so yeah, there is that. And again, you could do things like flickering it and things like that, I guess. So there are ways to kind of abuse things like that, and it is when it or another dinosaur enters. But then after, you've got this guy out, he's not going to trigger off the next dino that enters. But again, I guess that means that it just doesn't go infinite effectively. Which, wouldn't be, or like, what's the name? The Cascade Silver, First Sliver. Basically, that can really be silly because it, like, if you cascade off of it effectively, which I think you do, you just cascade into a whole bunch of stuff. So it's just like, yes, here's my other thing that, comes onto the field straight away. And here's my other thing that comes onto the field after that, and so on and so forth. And then my commander actually comes onto the field or whatever. So it is a bit weird, but this is when they enter. So, yeah, maybe they should have reworded this and said if you cast it or whatever, rather than saying, just like once per turn, because at least then, like, if you're casting them, which is like most of the dinos, at least then you'll get a free, like, whatever dino or whatever spell that's in your deck, or at least you'll draw that card. So that's not that bad. It seems like almost cream of the crop, kind of, in a way. Like, you get to choose the best thing from from that, which I guess is kind of similar. If you didn't, cast it, like, so. But yeah, it does seem quite fun in that way. And again, if you could find ways to flash dinos in, I don't know how many ways there are to do that, or how many dinos that have flash, then there's more chances to do it. You will have to have, like, Seaborn Muse or other things like that to untap your lands, or untap your other mana sources or whatever, so that you can cast things on your opponent's turns, things like that. So I could see that this can do stuff, and you can get, two dino, one dino for free every turn. So that could be quite powerful. And certainly in any deck, it's kind of like, well, is this better than Gishath? Like, I don't know. Like, it's pretty good, but it is pretty restricted. So again, I can just see that a lot of this, this and a lot of things that are probably going to go in, come from this deck are probably just going to go into Gishath decks. So, but still, like, a few people might not know that Gishath exists, or might not be able to find one, or whatever. So, or they might want to play budget Gishath, or, whatever, or not budget Gishath, but sort of like a less obnoxious Gishath in a lot of ways. They might want to lull people into thinking that this is a nice, fun deck that, it only does it once per turn, guys. I really have to build around that, like, I have to try to cast things on your turn to, get things or whatever. So, yeah, but besides that, I do think it's the coolest one. It's not for me per se, because I'm not really interested that much in tribal. Like, I kind of have a couple-ish tribal-ish decks, kind of, but they're not, like, 100% tribal. So, and I know some people don't go 100% tribal on it, or their tribal decks, or typal decks, or whatever you want to call them. But still, yeah, whatever. But those are my thoughts on this one. You guys can let me know what you think. Write your thoughts down there in the comments below. What are some things that maybe I've forgotten? or whatever, some combo that I haven't really thought of or whatever, you can let me know that down there in the comments. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you'll join me again in another one.